Feel empty? Like something is missing? Fantasia helps the disenchanted become enchanted by inspiring them to become conscious, holistic creators who dance with life. Each week we explore new ideas that expand consciousness, increase love, and enhance magical awareness. Now, here's your host, Laura Giles.
How many of us feel powerless in shaping our lives or destinies? If you look at the mainstream media, I'd say it's all of us. There's so many ads on social media for writing coaches, personal trainers, financial advisors, and on and on. Everybody is telling us that we don't know what we're doing and we need their expertise. And I'm not just talking about introverts and bookworms. Most of my clients aren't the fat kid who was bullied. They're the people who have the cool kid haircut and clothes. They have food and go on vacations. They have friends and a social life. And yet inside, it feels empty. It feels like there's something more. They wonder, where is the magic? Who has that formula for how to make life sparkle? And so they look for the self-help book, the retreat, the 4-step plan. And these are the people who create the $4 billion annual self-improvement market, where someone is always telling you what's wrong with you and how to fix it. And if you're young enough, your whole life has been like that. Your parents told you what to do. Then your teacher told you what to think. Then your bosses, therapist, and pastor told you what to do. It's one expert after another indoctrinating us with their beliefs. We're not living in a society that encourages us to believe in our own power or dreams. And yet we're the only ones who can create a life of meaning and purpose that allows us to share our unique gifts with the world. Without a belief in yourself, you lose all sense of agency and allow external forces to dictate your path. So in today's podcast, I'm going to share how to reclaim that power and create a life of your choosing. If you check out my guest interviews, you can see that everything is possible. Clementine Moss is making a living as a writer and performer in an all-girl tribute band to Led Zeppelin. I think that's so cool. Bab Chung is working as an astrologer. Tracy Reed is a death doula. Your passion doesn't have to be your work, but you really can do what you love. And I'm going to tell you how in today's podcast without having to reinvent the wheel. I believe that spirit is always guiding us. Nature gives us all kinds of help if we just pay attention, and the answers are always right in front of our face. The answer for how to claim and believe in your own power can be found in many places, but I want to talk about the NeverEnding story because that's where the name of this podcast comes from. So Fantasia is the name of the land in the movie, The NeverEnding Story. It's a magical place that is created by the wishes of humans. The problem is that humans have become apathetic. They no longer dream. They don't believe in anything, so the land is being swallowed by the nothing. I don't think that's exactly where we find ourselves today. I think we are creating monsters, war, terror, and domestic violence because we consume all bad news on the nightly news. According to the American Psychological Association, the average American child will witness 200,000 violent acts on television before the age of 18. If all you see is violence, sex abuse, and threats, what do you think that's going to do to your psyche? If you feel under threat, your first desire is going to be for safety. Always. That's all of us. We're designed to survive, and that kicks in when we feel threatened. If you look outside of ourselves and see a violent world of aliens, drones, people with guns coming to get us, race riots, political upheaval, natural disasters, and economic collapse, are we dreaming of art, music, and romance? No. We're not being consumed by the nothing. We're being threatened by the apocalypse. And it's a threat of our own making because just like in the NeverEnding story, we're the creators. But don't take my word for it. There was a pretty famous knee surgery story where researchers divided patients with knee osteoarthritis into 3 groups. One got the real surgery where they had damaged tissue removed. The second group had incisions, but no surgery, but they were told that they had the actual procedure. And the third group got no treatment. So 2 years later, the group that only got the incisions had just as much relief as those who had the actual surgery. That's the placebo effect, guys. That's the mind at work creating reality. The reverse is true too. There was a group of people in a pain study, and they were exposed to heat on the skin and told that the heat would either increase or decrease during the experiment, but it actually stayed the same. When people were told the heat increased, they reported more pain. When they were told the heat decreased, they reported less pain. And this shows that we get what we expect. Those are two really powerful bits of information. So let me say it again in a different way so it sinks in. The placebo effect is when positive changes happen that have no discernible cause. So it's caused by your belief. Good things happening because you believe in it. So if you take a sugar pill for a headache and the headache goes away, that's the placebo effect. It's the power of belief. The nocebo effect occurs when negative expectations from a treatment lead to a harmful effect. So if I'm giving chemo and I'm told all these horrible things can happen, the chance of them happening is amplified if I believe that. The more anxiety that I have in general, the more likely it is that I'll have some negative outcome. So it really pays to have a sunny outlook, positive people in your life, surround yourself with uplifting and beautiful people and things, and to choose your thoughts. It's easier said than done. In the NeverEnding story, Bastian's mother has died. He's an outcast boy who is bullied. He enjoys reading books and daydreaming about fantasies, but his father tells him to grow up. So he's getting all these messages that it's not okay to be who he is. He thinks the wrong things, he does the wrong things, and he doesn't fit in. So when he gets to the part in the story where he discovers the fate of Fantasia is up to him, does he believe that? No way. When the childlike empress tells him that he has to give her a new name, he freezes. It's like asking him to go against everything that he's been taught. It challenges all the authority figures he's put faith in. But this is the challenge that all of us face. It comes in different packages, but we all have a moment where we have to choose to stand in our own power or give power to something or someone else. We may not rise to the occasion the first, second, or third time. One reason is shame. I talked about that in the podcast, Unlocking Flow. And if you can't find your groove or keep your groove, you can bet that shame is at the root of that. That has to be fixed if you're going to be the master of your life. Another reason is conditioning. We live in a society where there are a lot of gurus, teachers, masters, experts, and coaches. Everybody is trying to sell us something by playing on our insecurities. And who doesn't have insecurities? There is always something we don't know. And if we let that stand in our way, we will never get anything done. When I was a new belly dancer, I absolutely had beginner's luck. I didn't have a dance background and didn't know what the standard path looked like. So I didn't pay any dues. I shot straight to the top, and lots of people resented me for it because they thought I didn't deserve it. I just didn't have any limiting self-belief stopping me because I didn't have any expectations at all. Now, contrast that with my social work career, and that's a different story. There was a well-trod path, and there were lots of people telling me what I had to do to make it and how I couldn't do this or that. And I believed them because they had letters after their names and were, quote unquote, important people. I put my faith into a high-dollar guru to help me. He said that if I did what he told me to do, I would expect big results. And that didn't materialize because that was his path, not mine. It didn't feel authentic to me. And I think that's the way most of these coaching programs work. It might help for a while, but the power has to come from you. You've got to be the one driving your own train. If you continue to put your faith in gurus, you may fall into despair and give up. That is where the nothing from the never-ending story creeps in. It leads to not caring, not being involved, becoming cynical, and your dreams slowly eroding away. If your younger self always wanted to write a book, travel to Europe, make your own wine, or open a motorcycle shop, and that never got off the ground, you know what I mean. Most of us have dreams that get clobbered by practicality, judgments, or just plain lack of belief in yourself. What happens to a dream deferred? Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun? Or fester like a sore and then run? Does it stink like rotten meat? Or crust and sugar over like a syrupy sweet? Maybe it just sags like a heavy load. Or does it explode? That's a poem by Langston Hughes, A Dream Deferred. I think it fits though, right? I think we need to think about our deferred dreams. They're important.
Love the vibe? Join the tribe. It's free, and the link is in the show notes. See you there.
I saw a social media post about a grandma who always wanted a doll when she was little. And I can't remember why she never got one. Maybe they were poor. I don't know. But her family got her one for Christmas. And when she opened the box and saw this little doll inside, you could see how much her little girl self really wanted that doll. She cried when she saw it and hugged it. Our dreams matter. Seeing them come true matters. Doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter how silly or juvenile it may seem to other people. At Fantasia, I talk about creating a magical life because there are so many people who feel stifled by the left brain, logical, goal-focused stuff that is shoved down our throats. They want to play. They want to feed their curiosity, to walk barefooted in the grass and to hunt for fairies in the woods. It's like their inner child was denied existence and they want to set it free. I get it. I entertain lots of fantastical ideas and have big dreams too. And guess what? There's no Prince Charming waiting to make all my dreams come true. If I want it to happen, I have to believe in myself, be truthful with myself about what I want, speak it into the world, and let it happen. And I can tell you this, if you don't get what you want, it's not about not having enough money, power, beauty, influence, or anything outside of yourself. If you listen to enough podcasts about consciousness and how that energetic world works, you know that life's not about that. Life is a mirror of your beliefs, period. You have what you have because that's what your core self believes. If you think that it's too much trouble to be rich because you have to deal with taxes, people trying to take your money, rob you, you won't have a huge amount. We only have what we think we can handle, and that's it. If you believe that the universe is abundant and blesses you with opportunities and riches, your outer world will reflect that too. It is what it is. It's not mysterious. But this is on the unconscious level. When your unconscious and conscious are in sync, your wishes manifest like magic, just like in the never-ending story. Bastian wished for everything to return to the way it was before the nothing devastated Fantasia, and it all came back. Remember the placebo and nocebo effect. If you believe that power is external and that you can only have control over your life if you have a certain amount of money, you're a certain gender or skin color, or if you have a certain degree or profession, that's what you'll manifest. I knew somebody who thought like that. He kept acquiring the thing he thought he lacked, but then there would be another hurdle. So he really worked hard and never got what he wanted because the problem wasn't his address, car, or degree. The problem was his lack of belief in himself. The never-ending story says, when it comes to controlling human beings, there is no better instrument than lies. Because you see, humans live by beliefs, and beliefs can be manipulated. The power to manipulate beliefs is the only thing that counts. Whoa, right? Now, if you think that imagination and curiosity are childish, let me remind you that some of the greatest minds in history credited imagination and curiosity for their breakthroughs. Einstein used thought experiments to come up with many of his ideas, including the theory of relativity. And Nikola Tesla called his method mental invention. He visualized intricate machines and systems without creating prototypes. The Tesla coil, which is a device that paved the way for wireless communication technology, was created that way. So imagination is a superpower. Imagine harmony, love, and who knows, maybe a peace revolution will break out. I always like to leave people with a to-do list. So let me give you some concrete suggestions for how to begin believing in yourself and create your beautiful reality. So first, if shame is an issue, deal with that. If you have no idea why you're making headway, it's almost always because of shame. That is probably going to require some professional help, so look for someone who has experience with trauma and shame. Even if you accomplish something, shame will rob you of the joy of it or set you back, so deal with this first. Without that, you're building on a poor foundation. So next, face your nothing. If there is something in your life that creates apathy, drains your energy, enhances feelings of self-doubt, makes you see obstacles instead of opportunities, and make you dwell on past failures, deal with that. Another thing that I think is essential is that you name your empress. In the never-ending story, the nothing destroyed almost everything. Bastian and the childlike empress are left on a little tiny rock floating in space, and all that's left is a little grain of sand. And she says that he can still save them if he just gives her a new name. And Bastian's scared to death for a couple reasons. First, he can't really believe that this story that he is reading is real and that he's a part of it. It's fantasy, and fantasies just aren't real, right? Second is that by giving her a new name, he's disobeying his father and believing in himself. He's essentially accepting his power and exercising the courage to be a creator of this new world. And when he does, he restores Fantasia by reinvigorating the human imagination. Powerful, right? So finally, you need to build or rebuild Fantasia. If the first three suggestions are inner work, this is the outer work. This is about creating small, actionable steps to either believe in yourself or to bring your fantasies into reality in the physical world. So this could be things like cutting out negative programming like social media, violent movies or TV shows, or even limiting time with people who blame, complain, and aren't uplifting to be around. It could be reframing things so that no matter what happens, it's evidence that the universe is conspiring wildly to help you succeed. For outer steps, if you want to write a book, actually do some writing. Even if it's outlines, character sketches, or doodle, write something. If you want to travel, research destinations, save some money, buy a suitcase. Show the universe that you're serious and it will respond to your actions. Now, there is a final hurdle. This is spelled out in the NeverEnding Story too. Author Michael End says, you wish for something, you wanted it for years, and you're sure you wanted it as long as you know you can't have it. But if all at once it looks as though your wish might come true, you suddenly find yourself wishing you never had wished for any such thing. Have you been there? I know I have. I've been on the verge of getting what I want, and then I'm like, do I really want this? I start thinking of ways to talk myself out of it. Sometimes because I didn't really think it through, and other times because I'm secretly wondering if I'm worthy of such a thing. But the NeverEnding Story has an answer for that too. It says, human passions have mysterious ways, in children as well as grown-ups. Those affected by them can't explain them, and those who haven't known them have no understanding of them at all. Some people risk their lives to conquer a mountain peak. No one, not even themselves, can really explain why. Others ruin themselves trying to win the heart of a certain person who wants nothing to do with them. So others are destroyed by their devotion to the pleasures of the table. Some are so bent on winning a game of chance that they lose everything they own, and some sacrifice everything for a dream that can never come true. Some think their only hope of happiness lies in being somewhere else and spend their whole lives traveling from place to place. And some find no rest until they have become powerful. In short, there are as many different passions as there are people. Now, what that says to me is that it doesn't matter what you want. If you want it, that's a good enough reason to pursue it, achieve it, and experience it. Everything doesn't end up filling us up, and we won't know until we have done it. So doing it helps us to get to a place where we're ready to take the next step, whatever that is. That's why it's called a never-ending story. When one dream ends, another one begins. Now, there's a lot of people living in uncertainty and feeling stressed about the way things are going. I've never known a time when that hasn't been true. If it's not the economy, it's healthcare or something. Now, you know that there is something you can do about it. You have limitless power. You have the ability to shape your world through belief and action. Imagination and creativity aren't things that belong to children, and they aren't luxuries. They are your most powerful tool, so dare to dream of big, bold, beautiful things. I'm really hoping that if enough of us do this, peace will break out all over. Wouldn't that be amazing? Now, I'm pointing to how you can find the answers to standing in your own power and creating the magical world that you want to see so that you can move from disenchanted to enchanted. But there is an easy way for you to do that for yourself. Revisit fairy tales, myths, and fantasy stories. Go back to those stories that you loved as a child. Fairy tales were originally created to give people answers on how to solve a problem, and they still function that way today. So open your mind, get curious, and see the hidden meanings behind the stories. Sometimes you have to illuminate the symbols to see what's really going on, like in the never-ending story. There can be plots within plots. But if you take the time to look and learn, you will see that you're always being given breadcrumbs to guide your way. You already have loads of wisdom inside of you. You just have to use it and follow through. So commit to one small change today and let me know in the comments what you're going to create. It's a way to hold yourself accountable. And when you are accountable, you're much more likely to follow through. We have the power to create a world that is clean, healthy, and inspiring for everyone. So let's work together to make that happen. Thanks for listening, guys. Be sure to be here next week when I'll be talking with Jim Marshall, who's the author of Septemics, which is a method for figuring out who you are and how to progress through life. Ciao.
Make sure to subscribe to the show on iTunes or Spotify so you'll never miss a show. While you're at it, if you found value in this show, why not show your love with a review? Thanks. See you next week.